While walking through the Indiana University campus in Bloomington or Ball State University in Muncie, you may catch an outdoor performance without even knowing it. Look up. The Carillon is an outdoor, rare concert, but you can easily mistake it for a chiming bell tower. There are only 6 in Indiana, 2 of which are in Bloomington. Take a walk through Indiana University's Jacobs School of Music practice building any time of the day, and you'll hear this. Young musicians learning from some of the best professors in the world. On most days, music fills the campus, but sometimes you have to search for the source. The Carillon is a rare instrument, and IU has 2 of them. IU's curator of organs and carillons, Patrick Fisher, says there's a lot of work to keep the carillons up to form since they're exposed to the weather.
Any friction that's caused by corrosion or debris getting in those bearing points will have an adverse effect on the ability of the player being able to sensitively control the instrument.
So, about 4 times a year, visiting Carillonneur John Gowins drives from his home in Culver to do maintenance. Then he'll play concerts, give tours, and offer lessons.
Carillon is not the place to learn to be a musician. You shouldn't be subjecting the whole neighborhood to that. You should be a musician before you start, and then you deal with how to make the Carillon cooperate with you.
Gowins starts at the Music Annex and then plays at the Met's Carillon near 17th Street and Jordan Avenue, the highest point on campus.
You'd want to be within probably 600 or 700 feet to hear it well.
The Met's Carillon was built in 1970 and has 61 bells ranging in weight from 27 pounds to more than 3 tons.
So especially this time of year on a beautiful day, you get a really commanding view of the campus, the city of Bloomington, and the surrounding countryside.
It was named in the memory of alumnus Arthur Metz from his foundation that supported scholarship funds. So explain how this works, since we're up here right now. I see keys.
So what happens here is that each key is connected to a wire, and there's an adjusting turnbuckle here too to deal with weather changes. The wire goes up through the ceiling. The wire then connects onto a horizontal lever, which is mounted on a bar, basically an axle to get the movement over closer. Okay, so somewhere down on that bar is another lever that's usually bent over at an angle a little, but mostly vertical. So as I press a key, that pulls the whole assembly. That pulls the clapper up to the edge of the bell. So there's nothing electrical or more complicated than that between the clapper at the bell and me, so I can play very gently or loudly.
The bells come from the most prominent bell maker in the world in the Netherlands.
A clapper on one of the larger bells can be up to a couple of 100 pounds, which we counterbalance some with springs, but it's still a lot more than a finger going down 3/8 of an inch is going to do.
There are pedals so he can play notes with his hands and feet. That makes it possible for him to play multiple notes at one time.
From the time I was a little kid, I was fascinated by clocks and bells, and I have a collection of clocks now. That's one of my hobbies. And I showed an interest in the organ by the time I was 2 years old.
The university has a couple other people who do play the carillon on a semi-regular basis, but it's not an instrument that's easy to master.
Then we're talking about maybe 10.
Wow. In the whole country?
That are really active recitalists.
It's just a matter of kind of knowing a little something about mechanics and not being afraid of heights.
Right.